What's good, YouTube? Today I wanted to talk about the recent updates that YouTube made towards the requirements to qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. They changed the watch hours from 4,000 to 8,000, and I know I've seen a lot of people on my feed, on my algorithm, of people complaining about this, and I've been making YouTube videos on and off since 2014. I started with Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 sniper montages, and I absolutely loved doing them back in the day because it was such a fun way to create videos. And I actually edited a lot of my videos on my PS4, so it was really cool seeing what I could make with the how little I had. And then I moved to PC and I started dabbling with editing software and stuff like that, and I've really enjoyed my YouTube journey. I know I then moved to some streaming on Mixer and Twitch, and seeing this goal that you need to hit uh, drastically changed, going from 4,000 to 8,000. It really lit a fire under my butt, and it really makes me want to see if I can achieve this by the end of the year. I think it's technically February 1st of 2027 that you will have to hit the 4 hours watch hours, and I really want to see if I can hit this because I would say, like everybody, you want to get rewarded for the hard work that you put in to anything. It could be like YouTube editing videos. It could be writing, wanting to get a book published. It could be making music and getting a song put on Spotify or something, for people to hear. It could be anything in a creative space. It could be painting, drawing, and actually making some money from it. I think I'm seeing a lot of people get some really hate comments on their videos about this and how, like, oh, you're just greedy and just get a job. And I think there's more to it than that. I think there's more to the actual mindset of being rewarded for the hard work that you put in, the recording, the editing, the making thumbnails, making titles and descriptions, the research that you have to do to see, hey, is this a video that I can make? Is this a video that might get some traction on YouTube? You want to create things because you want to create, because I think a lot of people have creative minds, but you want to create something that other people are going to watch. You want to get views, you want to get likes, you want to get comments, you want to get subscribers, because all of those are rewarding to see that what you are doing is growing. And I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. And even for me, like, I haven't done it for a couple of years, and sitting here talking in the mic, I'm nervous. I haven't done it for a while, so I'm not used to talking into a mic. I'm not used to live streaming, and it's, yeah, even being out of her a little bit, you get nervous. And I think some people like me, I like to make content because it also helps me with some, like, social anxiety as well. So this is definitely lighting a fire under my butt. I want to be more active on YouTube. I want to make more videos. I want to stream more. And I know what kind of started me, or what kind of got some of my creative juices going, was Linux gaming. And being on Linux I've been on it since 2021 on and off, but I've been running Linux exclusively probably since like January, February, so almost 8 months. And just seeing the things that have been updated on Linux has really gotten me interested in, I don't want to say spreading the gospel of Linux, but you know what I mean. I think Linux is just a really cool platform. Downloading Linux and using on my computer, it actually feels like it's your computer again. It's not, doesn't have a bunch of bloat like Windows. You're not constantly getting bombarded by Copilot or OneDrive or Microsoft Edge. It's actually your computer. And I think a lot of people are moving away from, say, Xbox or PlayStation, and they're interested in PC gaming. I know a lot of my friends are now on PC. Back in the day, I used to be kind of mixed. I used to have a group of friends on Xbox, and then I had a group of friends on PlayStation. And it seems like almost everyone's now on PC, and it's that I really like that because I can play any game with them. Games don't really have a, what's the term, exclusivity. They, like, there's not Gears Halo is not only on Xbox. So like you can pretty much play any game you want. And Linux, you have some issues with anti-cheat and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'm able to play almost every game that I need to with my friends. So I don't think that was really a thing you could say 5 years ago. Even when I dabbled in it, started with Linux. Um, I would say that Linux gaming is going to be my main focus on this channel, but I definitely am going to be doing a lot more live streams than I have been. There might be some other topics that I may talk about as well. I don't really want to change the algorithm too much. I don't really want to, you know, hurt the chances of growing, but I know that Linux gaming is one of them. There's other things that are kind of on my mind that I was thinking about the other day of just kind of like how, being a gamer, it might be more than just being a gamer, but I kind of feel like I've always felt like being an outcast in life. And gaming has kind of always been my outlet. And I guess you could say gaming, you kind of are seen as a nerd. But I do feel like gaming is more than just, sweating and playing Call of Duty or CSGO or Rocket League or trying to think of Overwatch. It's more than being really sweaty and competitive. There are incredible story mode games out there, and I think those, like for example, I think one of my favorite games is Red Dead Redemption 2. Like seeing the ending of that game, like I actually cried because like that game was so emotional, and I think that games can be more than just competitive. And I think being a gamer has been able to help me become a little bit less. I guess you could just say feeling like an outsider because like a lot of times I feel like an outsider. So that's definitely a topic that I've been tempted to talk about, but I don't know how much I'll dabble into that because I know it's not really Linux related. But I definitely want to do more on Linux and the Linux updates. Like for example, I think kernel 7 is coming out for Linux, and I want to do a little more research on that. But I know that that's supposed to uh, there's supposed to be a lot of improvements with the kernel 7, and I think right now I'm running Bazite, and I don't think it has kernel 7 yet. I'll have to look into that. But I know that there's a lot of improvements in kernel 7. I know, for example, HDR is finally on Linux and it's actually working properly. High refresh rate monitors are working properly. The fact that one of my favorite things that I've noticed is the power plan. So you can actually put it on performance mode because that's a big thing that Windows had. So there's a lot of things on Linux that I think are developing quite fast. NVIDIA is a perfect example. NVIDIA drivers are actually working quite well. I saw a short, I think recently. Again, it was Zach Shutt, I think is his name. I referenced him in one of my previous videos, and he was talking about how NVIDIA, they're actually like recognizing Linux, and they are. I think it's called GeForce Now. They're releasing a GeForce Now app on Linux, which I'm not a big fan of streaming services. I don't like paying subscriptions, but I do think that they're recognizing that Linux actually is, like I say all the time, a viable platform. It is an actual operating system that people are interested in using. So the fact that NVIDIA now is recognizing that might mean that they may do or release better driver support. Because I know on my live stream the other day, there's one or two people commenting how they were using NVIDIA and they were having a bunch of bugs. And I know NVIDIA is not the best for Linux, but there again, it's definitely improved a lot more than it has in the past. So that's definitely something I'll probably talk about in the future. But today I just wanted to talk about the requirements, the watch hour jump, and YouTube. I don't know if it's necessarily a corporate greed thing because they don't necessarily want to pay as many creators. I know that there's a lot of AI videos out there. There's a lot of I'm seeing them as a lot of them are war documentaries, which I do like watching war documentaries, but that's the main one that I'm seeing in. And I don't like those videos because you can tell that it's a robotic voice. You can tell that it's AI. It's not a real person talking. There's really no authenticity to it. So I can understand that maybe they're trying to get rid of the AI content, but I feel like if they're trying not to pay the AI videos with their ad revenue, why not just ban AI content in general? Like I understand some people use AI for video editing or thumbnails and stuff like that, but like when the video you can tell is, well, I guess some people might use AI for their narration, but I just feel like YouTube probably should have done that first instead of changing the watch hours, because I do think the watch hours definitely affect the small content creators drastically. I know a lot of people are mad, but I think at the end of the day, YouTube is more than just making money. You want to grow. Like you want to grow in your creative mindset, your creative space. You want to be able to get better at editing videos, getting better at making thumbnails and titles and descriptions. Like it's a long process, and I remember back in the day, I was always looking at Google's SEO and how to optimize every single video. And I don't know if I was necessarily that good at it, but I definitely really enjoyed looking into things like that. So I think there's more to it than just the watch hours changing, but I want to reach for this. So I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming. I'm going to be uploading a lot more videos. And if you guys have any suggestions on video topics, like if there's any news you see about Linux that you want me to kind of dive into, let me know. I'm definitely going to be searching the interwebs to search and see what kind of updates there are about Linux. I go on Reddit a lot. There's a couple other YouTubers that I watch, and they do a lot of comparisons between, say, like CashOS and Bazite, or Nabarro and CashOS, or CashOS and Windows. But yeah, it's really cool to see where Linux has gotten just in the time frame that I've messed with it, and I wonder how long it's going to be until games actually develop their games for Linux, or how long it will be until games actually allow Linux to play games with anti cheat. Like, I don't think Linux users really want kernel level like anti cheats. I don't think they really like the kernel mindset, because kernel level kind of takes control of your whole computer, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of being on Linux. But I kind of wonder if games are going to start taking Linux seriously. Like, there's a game that's coming out that I really want to see where it goes, because right now I think they're doing closed testing, and I think the beta is coming out in September. But there's a game called War Dogs, I think is what it's called. I'm really into Battlefield, so like I play some of the old Battlefield still because I can on Linux. I don't really play Battlefield 6 that often because I still have to I have to use Windows for that. But War Dogs is a game that I'm really intrigued by. I'm wondering, I think they came out and said it does not support Linux. Like, they're not going to support Linux. But I wonder how well it's going to play with Proton. Like, if it plays well with Proton, I might still get the game. I don't really want to drop $70 on a game if they're not, like, developing it for Linux. But they just said right out of the bat, they said, no, we are not supporting Linux. And I left a comment on one of their videos, and I said that I think that's a shame. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I remember writing something down on saying like that's like 5% of users that make up, I don't know, millions of players that you could get money from. Like, I know that may sound, and I can't remember exactly, that's what I said, but like, it's pretty much like, okay, 5% of users, according to Steam's hardware survey. 5% of users, that's millions of people that are on Steam that could buy their game. And if they have microtransactions, which I hope they don't, but if they have microtransactions, that would be so much money they would leave on the table. And I kind of hope other games kind of notice that. Like, hey, there's Steam says there's 5% people on Linux. That's much more than Mac. I think Mac is like 2. maybe not even. But like if they embrace the millions of people that are on Linux, I think these companies can make so much more money. And I think right now with the watch hours changing on YouTube, yeah, I think it might be a little bit of corporate greed. So I don't really like to encourage companies to, be more greedy. But I think at the end of the day, if more game developers, game publishers take notice of Linux, I think it would be awesome. I don't know. I know a lot of people think that Linux players or Linux users are cheaters. I don't really, personally, don't think that's true, but I don't really know. I don't really know how you can convince people that they're not. Like my main argument for that is that look at Call of Duty and Battlefield. Those are two games that very much say "f you" to Linux, and they have thousands of cheaters. I think Call of Duty, they sent a tweet fairly recently saying that like almost every season they ban over 70,000 accounts. All of those are non-Linux users. Those are all Windows users. So I kind of wonder the cheating mindset, like all Linux users are cheaters. I wonder how true that might actually be, and I wonder if they open it up to Linux, if the cheating pandemic, I don't know, I don't know would be another term. I'll just say problem. The cheating problem. I wonder if it would get worse or if it would get better if these anti-cheat games allow Linux players. Because a lot of the servers are Linux. I guarantee you that a lot of the servers that you play on are probably ran by Linux. Probably Debian, like a Debian Docker or something. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the YouTube changes, and also on some changes for the channel. So I definitely want to make more content. And if you have any other suggestions, let me know. But until then, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day.